Hello my friends, it is finally time for another What's News in Skincare, January 2023. In case you missed the evolution of this series, this is no longer a video that heavily focuses on new product releases. If that is what you are looking for, we do that every month in the new skincare try-on. I will link this month's in the cards as well as the description box below. Today's video instead is going to focus on skincare news, which we finally have kind of a lot to talk about. And as far as skincare news, I want to start out with what I feel is some pretty great news. So if you are aware of the DHC Cosmetics situation, the company has sold to another company located in Japan, and the former president has stepped down. The now former president of DHC had said some derogatory remarks against Korean people, and unsurprisingly, a lot of people were upset about this. I tend to think that most people do not want to support racism in any kind of form. And I do feel like in these situations, I don't think that there is a better resolution than the president stepping down. We've seen similar things in the West with, brands like KVD. Kat Von D had to leave that brand for a lot of people to go back to supporting the company, and I'm glad she did because, there's a lot of people, just individual, regular, probably very nice people who work for these larger companies and whose views do not reflect the president, and it's always sad to think that their income could be heavily affected by that one person. And then next we have an announcement that Gen Alpha, yes that's right, small children, are getting into skincare. I'll have all these articles linked in the description box below as well. So this article is talking about how 10 and 11-year-olds now have skincare routines. I am perplexed by this. It is so hard for me to imagine myself at 10 and 11 with a skincare routine, but I am so perplexed by this. This is a huge shift because what I do remember is that at age 10 or 11, I wanted to wear makeup. I wasn't supposed to wear makeup yet, but every time we would go to Walmart and I would see, Jane Cosmetics, that's what I craved so much. This makes me realize just how different of a world we are living in because skincare was just not even anywhere in my mind at age 10 and 11, and yet 10 and 11-year-olds have skincare routines. What does everyone think of this? Do you think it's ultimately a good thing? I think that it can be a good thing. Again, sunscreen, cleansing, this is wonderful for even children. But at the same time, I do find myself kind of worrying that as a result of getting into skincare at a very young age, aren't those kids also exposed to what I would say are kind of some toxic mentalities, in particular around the topic of aging? That would be my worry with Gen Alpha getting into skincare. But again, that's pretty much my worry with Gen Z, millennials, everyone as well, because aging is in fact a natural thing. Did you all see the article about the 45-year-old billionaire, I guess I'll link this one too, who is trying to still look 18? I don't want to look 18. Is that bizarre? I actually don't want to look 18. I would much rather look at least close to my actual age because I feel like I earned my actual age. Anyway, I don't want this whole video to just be, Alice doesn't like toxic mentalities about aging, but I don't. Let's go ahead and move on to what I know some of you are waiting for in today's video. Let's talk about some of these influencer and celebrity skincare brands, the update. I know that a lot of you have seen the news that Selfless by Hyram as well as Item Beauty by Addison Rae, I have no idea who that is, are leaving Sephora. I feel like every news outlet has written an article about this, quite possibly because it seems people are celebrating this. And I do kind of understand why, because we've been talking about influencer and celebrity brands for years through this very same series, and almost always the comments have been, ugh, not another one. I'm so tired of celebrity skincare brands. So that's interesting. More on that in a moment. What I wanted to say is they're kind of not the only brands that are experiencing some changes, to say the least. First of all, Morphe has filed for bankruptcy, and I think this is another one that most of you watching this probably are aware of. Morphe apparently had put all of their coins into the bank of Ariana Grande with the is it RIM or REM makeup. See, I know so little about this because I share the exact same mindset as most of you. I'm not interested in this brand. I like makeup. I'm not interested in RIM or REM beauty. Why RIM? Are we sleeping while we're wearing this makeup? Nothing makes sense. And again, if I don't care, I don't think I'm alone, and I'm not surprised that these brands aren't doing well. There's more though. So Kristen Bell had introduced a CBD brand. It was called Happy Dance. It was at Ulta. We talked about it on this channel. That is closing. That is gone. Bad Habit Beauty, I don't know if anyone even remembers this at this point, but that was, I believe, a collaboration with Emma Chamberlain, who I distantly know who that is, and she has quietly left the company and gone to become the ambassador for Lancome instead. How interesting. How interesting. So let's talk about what's going on here. Why do people not like celebrity and influencer brands, especially given that it seemed they did not too long ago? You know, there's a reason that all of these companies have turned to influencers and celebrities. And to understand how that happened, we kind of have to go back to the 2010s. And I'm so sorry, I hope this doesn't bother anyone, but we have to talk briefly about Jaclyn Hill. Again, if you're newer to beauty and if you've never worn makeup, you might not know this at all, but Jaclyn Hill was such a big beauty guru at the time she was popular. Everybody was watching Jaclyn Hill. And every time she did a collaboration with the company, it was a massive success. Going back to Becca, when she introduced a highlighter by the name of Champagne Pop, that just really put Becca on the map. See, in retrospect, a lot of people look at this and say, oh, I think Jaclyn Hill might have destroyed Becca. I actually heavily suspect that Jaclyn Hill kept Becca going, but I also think we have to look at the 2010s not from the lens of 2023. We have to actually realize that was such a different time. People liked makeup gurus on YouTube in the 2010s, whereas now, once again, I'm thinking about that L'Oreal Michaela thing. I don't want to think about this anymore. But if you can even believe me, back in the 2010s, beauty gurus on YouTube were actually seen in this very positive light, even down to the fact that they used to do these tours of their obnoxious homes. Do you all remember the walk-in closet tours from Jaclyn Hill? I think Jeffree Star also did some like showing off of his home. You know, we all called this flexing back in the 2010s. And it's so fascinating to think that people weren't utterly repulsed by it, but they weren't. I think people saw it as aspirational, whereas really not even that much into the future. We look at that and most of us are disgusted. Most of us are disgusted by flex culture. So this becomes really interesting in the context of Selfless by Hyram in particular, because Selfless by Hyram was supposed to be this skincare brand that was going to save the world, right? It was selfless skincare somehow. And even when it was first introduced, I kind of felt like it had 90s infomercial vibes. Back in, again, another cultural shift. Back in the 90s, there were commercials that ran on TV that said things like, for just $7 a month, you can help a starving child in Africa. And it sort of felt to me like buying this cleanser will help starving children in Africa. And there's kind of a lot to unpack there. I'm honestly not even sure where to start with unpacking it all, but I will say, I think a lot of people post the year 2020 have become very aware of the fact that there's a lot of starving children in America. A lot of them. So while Selfless by Hyram set out with these great intentions, it sort of felt like it exposed how out of touch the very wealthy influencers and celebrities really are with the real world. What I do think is that where I'm kind of starting to go with this is just so far beyond the scope of this channel, so far beyond it. But I will say one more thought here, and it is something that I hope you all know I am aware of and I continuously think about, and that is that every day my own channel becomes just a little bit more insensitive. Not because I have changed a single thing about what I'm doing. Actually, I probably talk a lot more about affordable products these days, but because at this point, talking about expensive products absolutely does isolate some people. There are some people that just will never be able to afford them, and I fear that that number grows every day. That's a big conundrum. Again, I don't know where to start with this. There's a lot that needs to improve in the world, frankly. But to get back to the topic, some of the articles I was reading were saying that it seems that people have become aware of how rich these celebrities and influencers are, how out of touch they are, and so as a consequence, people don't really want to support them. Remember when we used to say, oh, I want to support this person by buying from their brand? People now know that those people are rich and they don't need the support of people that are making, you know, maybe $40,000 a year if we're lucky. One of the articles had surveyed people and said, well, what brands would you prefer to buy from? And they said the responses were Tatcha and Drunk Elephant. Which is, again, really interesting because both of those companies absolutely do have a CEO who is probably doing pretty well. They're probably doing pretty well, but they're disconnected enough that, do you know who the CEOs are? So what I really do think happened, I really do think there was this short period of time wherein people looked up to influencers as people who they kind of trusted in ways that we don't trust CEOs of companies or even celebrities. And that was the prime time of influencer culture. It's interesting to think that it really opened up doors for these influencers that maybe shouldn't have even existed. Talking about Item Beauty as well as Selfless by Hiram, both of those brands entered into Sephora. Do you understand how unheard of that is? That just doesn't happen. When a brand is starting out, you start small, and by the time you make it into Ulta or Sephora, you have already succeeded. This meant that those companies had so much faith in themselves that they decided to start in Sephora, where you do have to pay to be in Sephora. I don't know if everyone knows that, but you have to pay to stock your product on the shelves. So high expectations were made, and apparently they did not quite meet them. That would be my conclusion. I know that Selfless by Hiram is going to continue on their own website, but it doesn't look like the brand was doing great if they now leave Sephora. And I want to end our skincare news section with one more article that I think really ties everything together. It's the rug that ties the room together, man. The name of this article is For Skincare Startups, Slow has become synonymous with success. It is a very interesting article. It talks about the brand Vintner's Daughter, who apparently is making their third product launch in 10 years. It took them 4 years to formulate a cleanser, and they are a brand that is doing great. Sometimes I do get questions about this brand. I've still never tried anything from them. They're a bit pricey, but I think they have loyal fans. The article also talks about Dew Skin, which I know a lot of you are fans of, Edam, which I'm a fan of, and they also quote the company Ursa Major, who said, customers take their time to seek out and curate healthy essentials that are made with intention and care for the planet, and they appreciate that these things almost always take more time to design, source, test, and make. And I think that is in fact true. I think that a lot of people are doing this much more intentional buying, you know, looking for products that are much better for the planet, more sustainable, easier to recycle. Those are big factors. And I do think that people have absolutely simplified their skincare routines in more recent years. I like this quote also. This is from the founder of the Vintner's Daughter brand. They said, I'm trying to create a heritage luxury skincare company, and what that means for us is that we're not trying to create your next product, we're trying to create your last product. In the end, after reading all of these articles together, I do feel like I have some conclusions to draw from this. And again, I'm obviously no marketing specialist, no brand analyst, but it feels to me that people are indeed making purposeful choices when they choose to buy their next skincare product. People are looking for recyclability, they're looking for sustainability, they're looking for a company whose ethics align with their own, as we talked about with DHC. They're looking to support concepts. Not as much people, not as much celebrities and influencers, but concepts that do actually make the world a better place, which again just makes me conclude I think most people are good. I think most people have good hearts and want the world to be better. I think it's that simple. So that's it for our news section. Let's move on to just a few products for this video, although I do want to talk about customized skincare routines because there have been some very interesting developments in this category. First of all, Curology is now at Target, and they did actually send me their everyday sunscreen. I'm so sorry I don't have a clip of this product, but it's kind of because it's really just fine. You all know how I feel about mineral sunscreens at this point. It's fine. It's not the best I've tried. It's not the worst I've tried. It's not the most expensive. It's not the least expensive. But the reason I want to talk about this is because Curology is now at Target, and it is perplexing to me that they would be at Target. On the very side of this box right here, it says, transform your skin with a free custom formula. Here's the QR code that you can scan. You get 30 days free at Curology.com plus $4.95 shipping and handling. That also reminds me of 90s infomercials. But doesn't it feel strange that this would now be on the shelves of Target? This is essentially an ad for Curology on the side of the box inside of Target. When I first found this out, I was over here thinking, why would Target want that? Would that not detract from people buying products from Target? And let's just go ahead and talk about Proven Skincare at Sephora so we can talk about these two together. Yes, another customized skincare brand is now available at Sephora. And that is Proven Skincare, which, has anyone else seen a lot of sponsored videos for Proven? I have. I think I saw them sponsored on the Cody Shody. So you can now go to the Sephora website and then leave the Sephora website to go onto the Proven website to do your survey for the right products for you. It just felt so bizarre. I made an Instagram post about specifically Proven, and it was interesting to get some DMs from you. Quite a few of you said what I was kind of thinking also, which is you suspect it's essentially a sponsorship in these stores. And I think you're right. I mean, I already talked in this same video about how brands do pay to be at Sephora. No doubt that Proven is paying to be at Sephora for the purpose of marketing their company, and Curology is paying Target to be at Target for the purpose of advertising their company. And what I ultimately feel, and you all said this too, is that the interesting thing about these companies is the ideas they have are, I would say, good overall. I like Curology a bit more because you can actually sign up and get a stronger retinoid. I still like my adapalene that I can buy over the counter, but you can't do that with Curology. Proven, I don't like Proven's system as much. You get a cleanser, a moisturizer, and a sunscreen. And I don't want a sunscreen. I don't want a custom sunscreen. I know what I like, and it is K-Beauty sunscreens. And that brings me to a brand new custom skincare routine option that I hadn't heard of until they reached out to me, and that company is called Revea. When I first visited their webpage, I kind of thought that it was going to be another situation where this cute-looking brand reaches out, but I ultimately decline to receive their products just because, again, I try so much and my skin is a little bit more sensitive. But immediately upon entering this website, I was already going, wait, this is actually different. First of all, the whole brand is fragrance-free, which I truly think is the way to go in terms of introducing new products to people. I am not opposed to fragrance. I think it works for a lot of people, but I think you should probably get a sample of products that are fragranced before you commit to buying them. So they've eliminated that, variable of concern. It's all fragrance-free. It is a company where everything is made in recyclable packaging. They have addressed sustainability in that all of their products are developed and manufactured entirely in San Francisco, in-house. And this isn't just a company where you do a survey and it spits out one of a handful of options available. This is a company that is based in AI. It's based in artificial intelligence. What you do is you load up the website. It has you take a picture of your face, but not just a picture. It's like, you know how when you're setting up your iPhone, you have to do the whole turn and adjust your face so you get a good capture of it? You do that, and then it analyzes all kinds of different factors, and I believe they say they have over 3,000 formula options. What is going on with this brand is a lot bigger than your average custom skincare company. And let me tell you something, these products are strong. They are very strong products. I don't think I expected this. I do not think I expected this at all because, as we talk about on this channel all the time, most companies will try to make a more gentle product that people think they want. You know, that's why instead of companies selling you retinol products, they're trying to say that something else is a bioretinol, a pseudo-retinol. Because while retinol is a great ingredient, it can be difficult for your skin. It can be. The adjustment period can be difficult. And so it almost feels that most companies would rather make a product that doesn't change your skin as much, but meets all of the popular things. That is not what Revea is doing, and it actually makes sense that it's not what they're doing because you are scanning your face. Your results are based on actual results instead of just hoping for the best. Now let me tell you something, I've been trying these products this month and it initially definitely did go worse before it got better, and I kind of had my doubts as to whether the AI was going to be honest with me. You know, it was. It actually was. I do feel like my skin actually had to adjust to these products, which is very interesting. I think it's great that they have a 90-day money-back guarantee. I do find myself hoping that people don't use these products for 2 weeks, notice their skin gets worse, and then give up and just return them. My skin is very adjusted to just about all ingredients, and I still struggled initially with this. But yeah, in the end, they are great products. They are an amazing company, and so I kind of feel like what they're doing is actually a bit more like Vintner's Daughter and Ursa Major, as we talked about earlier in this video. Price-wise as well, this is not an inexpensive program. It is $250 for 3 months. And I got to thinking about that too, because as I also already mentioned in this video, I am trying to move away from expensive products, but also realistically speaking, that's about $83 a month. Most of us skincare enthusiasts spend a lot more than $83 a month buying all kinds of small little inexpensive bottles. You know we do. And for this video, we are only going to talk about 2 new releases, one of which I finally did get. My Ulta order, finally. It went from exception to delivered. What is going on with the mail? What is going on? But I got The Ordinary Multi-Peptide Eye Serum. I have to admit to you all, it was very strange to pay $25 for a product from The Ordinary. That was a strange experience. Haven't I bought products from this brand that were $6.30, some odd numbers? It's very confusing, but I like peptides. I've been looking for eye serums lately, so as I've talked about, I do the eye serums before I do my sticky eye patches, so I really wanted to go for this, and once I got this, I immediately remembered why I don't have a ton of The Ordinary products in my collection. They have incredible formulations, but I just often do not like the texture. And this is typically fine for me at night. I still use the multi-peptide serum at night, but during the day I get some pilling when I use some of their products, especially under makeup. And with this one, it's so runny. It's so runny. Don't do what I'm showing in the video. I'm just trying to show you how runny of a product this is. Yeah, it's hard to keep it in your eye area because it just kind of drips. Now listen, to the credit of The Ordinary, again, formula is still wonderful. And I have bought some very expensive eye serums that still do this. Looking at you, Perricone MD, looking at you. But we'll see. I'll definitely follow up with this one. We're not going to be testing any eye products the upcoming month, so I'll continue to use this. I also bought the Kopari eye cream, so I'll update on both of those. But yeah, for now, I don't know. I had really high hopes, and at the moment, I'm more neutral than I thought I would be. If any of you picked it up, how did you feel about spending $25 on a product from The Ordinary? And then one more product that I do not have because, oh, you monsters, you all bought this up. In the Lady Gaga sense, I love you all, but you are monsters for buying up the new Beauty of Joseon sunscreen stick. We just talked about the Beauty of Joseon sunscreen on this channel, so you know I love it. It is a massive hit of epic proportions. And of course, now that they have a sunscreen stick, which is in collaboration with Glow by Ramon, everybody wants to try it. And it's interesting too, because I actually remember when people were kind of hesitant about sunscreen sticks. I'm guessing that a lot of us did try them, did go out in the sun and went, oh, I didn't get a sunburn. Personally, I still use them for touch-ups. It's not the only sunscreen that I apply. I do make sure it's the same filters that I applied earlier in the day. But yeah, I don't really wear them on their own. I just keep them for touch-ups, and they seem to work, even though it does feel like you're applying less product. I, like the rest of you, do want to try this. I will just have to catch it when it is back in stock. And that's it, my friends. That's it for What's News in Skincare for January of 2023. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think about the news? What do you think about the new products, customized skincare? That brings us to the end. That brings us to the end of today's video. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Thank you so much for watching. And if you did enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe. And I will see you all next time.